Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV in a new edition of our online interview series. We want to talk now to the famous Colombian gold producer GCM Mining, and Serafino Iacono is again with us. So good morning again to Madrid. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Fine, all good. Thank you very much. Yeah, GCM Mining, you guys are doing a really fantastic job. I'm a happy shareholder also of the company, and I love my monthly dividend payments, to be honest. So how was Q4 production for you and also 2021? I think you are quite satisfied, huh?
Well, we're very happy with production. Remember that we are no longer reporting the Marmato project. So it's strictly Gran Colombia production. Gran Colombia being GCM now as a main company, but still called Gran Colombia in Colombia. We did 206,000 some ounces. It's very satisfactory for us. It's an increase in from last year production. The good news about the company is, as you said, we're solid. The company is paying a dividend. We are confident that we're going to be paying a dividend as we go along. The company is making very good profits. We did fantastic EBITDA, but last year. We believe that this year we are going to our guidance is somewhere between 210 and 220. We're always conservative on our guidance, and that's the best way to be. Our CEO has always a tendency. Our CEO has always a tendency of beating the guidance, but we like to keep it at that. So where do we stand? 206,000 ounces producer. We have potential. We are going to be developing the Toroparu mine, fully financed company, close to $500 million in the bank between our cash, what Wheaton River is going to be giving in the project, and what we have in the money that we raised. So we have actually more money than we need for the project. Money to pay for the interest for the next 2 years, money to pay for the construction of the plant, and money left over.
That's always good.
We have. It's always nice to have that problem. We have our CFO, Mike Davis, a very diligent guy, has put together a plan to buy back stock on weaknesses. We have done that, and we plan to do that with the extra cash that we have. Exploration is going fantastic. Development is going fantastic in Segovia. We have done more than 40,000 meters of drilling since July, plus additional drilling on the development front. I think we're going to have a good year to increase our resources and reserves. That's going to be coming pretty soon, results of that. But the most important thing is the development of the Toroparu project. We already broke. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, before we come to Toroparu, because I don't want to mix up, let us first talk about Segovia and your production there. What is the development of the AISC, meaning also, let's say, the overall costs? Any chances to bring the costs further down, meaning to make it more profitable, and maybe to increase the dividend?
Well, we could increase the dividend without bringing costs down. Our costs are pretty good for where we stand. All-in sustaining cost of $1,100, less than $1,100. Mining cost of $800. It's not bad. There is always room for improvement. The most important thing that we got to keep over there is the grades. That the grades remain that. We are confident that our mine life is very, very long, despite what some people might think, because we don't build up a huge long-term reserves and we keep them in the resource category. It's because we are confident of our geology. We are confident of our vein system, that this thing has been mined for 100 years and it's been producing for 100 years. And I can tell you it's going to produce for 100 years more.
Love to hear that.
So we're happy. Our costs are reasonable. We've been blessed by, in many ways, even though there is an inflation, a very big inflation, we had to raise our small miner pay per ton that they mine for us a little bit higher, just because they had 5 years, 4.5 years that they had no raises. So we were still working on $1,400 gold and $1,500 gold, and the reality is that we are on 1,800 gold. So we're very happy on that part, and the projects are going along very well. We are not only developing our fronts and increasing reserves and resources in the 3 main mines. We managed to open our 4th mine, which is Carla. The Carla mine is in another title outside of the Segovia, south of us. It used to be the Gran Colombia vein, very famous vein. We are getting fantastic results, in many ways up to 1 ounce of gold per ton. So we're going to start taking some material out of that, and that's going to be an expansion. And then we are working diligently to open 3 other fronts in the east. There is some very interesting area, but mostly surrounding in the 23 other mines that have been closed. We've done enough work to start getting information to start developing those mines one at a time. We believe that by next year, probably on the next 2 years, we're going to add our 4th and 5th mine that we're going to be developing, that which is going to increase not only production, it's going to increase resources and reserves.
Would that mean that you go then to, let's say, 250,000 ounces a year, or what's the game plan?
Well, the game plan is for us to go to obviously increase production as we go. Remember that we're building a plant that's going to be ready sometime around June, July. We're increasing from 1,500 to 2,000 tons a day. So there is a 25% increase in capacity that will be used as we go along to increase production.
Fantastic. I also saw in your news release, which really catched my interest, that you have put in a new 200 ton per day polymetallic plant. And I think you produced for, I think it was for around 2 months, 154,000 pounds of zinc, 254,000 pounds of lead, 18,400 ounces silver, and additional 100 ounces gold. So this gave you a revenue already of $1.1 million approximately, as to my calculation, which is great. I think it's a nice addition to have. So would that be, let's say, for the longer term future, also an additional part of your production, which you want to grow and do in addition those metals, which, as we discussed already, zinc, lead, silver, etc., are really needed in this world?
Well, you hit the nail in the head. We're doing 2 things with that. That project started as a ESG project to help environment cleanup. What happens was that we started looking at the historical production, the 1950s of the Frontino gold mines. And you have them on our website. If you're a history buff in mining, you'll find it very interesting. Yeah. It's 20 years of annual reports, and in that 20 that we found in the library, That 20-year mining reports, strangely enough, talked about production of lead and production of zinc. We said, well, where is this production in lead and zinc came from? So we started testing our material about 8 years ago, and we found that there was very high lead contents in the mineral that we mine, some very good zinc numbers. And since we only recover 90% of the gold and 60% of the silver in that concentrate that we were keeping in a special area with lining and with ponding and everything in a pond, we found that we have 200 tons a day of that material that we produce. So that's why we build that plant for it's got two purposes. Purpose number one, reduce the impact of storing the materials. So that helps the environment. The government, the Ministry of Environment is very happy with that. But number two, it's a source of income. You said it. If it's $1 million, $1.5 million a month, it's $20 million of extra income every single year. And now we're diversifying our metals, not only to produce gold and silver, but we're producing a concentrate that's got zinc and lead. And it fits very well with what we're doing in Toroparu. There's going to be a copper gold producer, and it fits very well with Denarius. That's going to be a polymetallic. So it's nature itself making it happen for us to go into a direction of being not just a gold company.
Great.
So the plant right now, we're fixing the bugs and everything, debugging it. But still, with the debugging, we're done a spectacular recovery of a concentrate. Now, remember that we produce 200 tons a day, plus we got about 7-8 years of tailings sitting around there that are going to also be processing. And with the Guyana project, that might bring the zinc, lead, and the silver and the gold that is over there and process it, whatever tailings is left over. This is going to give us a possibility of incrementing that plant from 200 tons a day and doubling it probably in size in the next few years. That we're going to see as we go along. So the project is going very well on that.
Super, I like that. No, I mean, what is also favorable is you're doing several things together. You are cleaning up the environment, and you make money, and you produce opportunities for the company and profits.
That's the idea.
That's really lovely, I would say.
You got to think outside of the box always. And in the beginning, people were saying, well, why are you confusing the market? We're not confusing the market. I'm doing things that the market cannot be confused on making money. At the end of the day, we're a company, well, whether we make computer chips or we do mining or earth moving operation, at the end of the day, our shareholders want to see money to be made in this company.
Exactly, and rising dividends.
and rising dividends. Me too, because I'm a big shareholder of Gran Colombia.
Yeah, absolutely. Super. Let's talk about Toroparu with the development. You said you have more than enough money to do that. So what would be, let's say, the total capex you need by now? And what is your timeline going forward? When would we see Toroparu in production?
Well, Toroparu is still in line to be in production in 2024, the first quarter of 2024. We already started breaking grounds. We are fixing the road. We're expanding the airport that is right next to the mine. We are designing the camp and start building the camp. We're doing all the preparation work for the next 6 months. And we already contracted the contractor is going to do all that work, and it's working. We are finalizing who's going to be the contract miner to do the operation, to do the contract mining operation. Right now, the feasibility and who's going to be, before I go into operations, and who's going to be the company that's going to build the processing plant. So all of that is in progress. Lombardo is very diligent. Our CEO is very diligent in putting this thing. We have our full management team dedicated to Guyana, from the COO all the way down, that's going to take operations going. So very happy about that. Our goal is 2024. Right now, our budget, as you saw on the pre-feasibility that we published, it's $350 million. We are going to be fine-tuning that. Why? Because the $350 million includes equipment purchase or equipment leasing. Equipment purchase right now, and it includes us doing our own mining and our own movement of sterile and water control and things like that. We have decided, Guyana's got very good qualified people working in the country. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be most likely, as I said before, we're going to contract mine that area, which brings the cost down. I don't have to worry about equipment or replacement of equipment or life of equipment. I pay a contract miner operation. All my costs go into OPEX and not CapEx. And that will bring savings in the $350 million that we have right now designated for the construction of the mine. So that's going to come down, but right now we have $350 million. We have $260 million in cash. We always carry between $60 and $80 million in our own balance sheet of our own cash. So that's about 320 and 150, the 147 that comes from Wheaton, with a possibility of even having more money if we want. I mean, right over there, we are more than financed in the project.
Super, fantastic. What would be the annual production approximately, just to give us an idea, and where do you see your production costs at Toroparu then? Also, just a guess, I know it's a forward-looking statement for the regulators, but to give you us a bit of an orientation.
Well, look, the pre-feasibility, it's pretty clear. This is an incredible project. Without counting the copper that right now we're planning to accumulate the concentrate, then to build a year 5, go and build a facility. That's the way it is right now. It might change as we go along, especially with the price of copper. But right now, the project year 1 is going to $275 million in EBITDA. And year 2, it goes to 250, and then it stabilizes between 200 and 225 with a 24-year mine life. Okay. So when you look at this project pays itself in the first 2 years. It pays itself. It's amazing when you think.
It's really outstanding. And how would it change the production profile completely of GCM? I mean, you would be then like a, what, 350,000, 400,000 ounce producer?
Well, no, if you look at it, that we're going to be doing 220,000, between 210 and 220 in Colombia. And you put what I'm going to be doing in Guyana, that's about 250, 450, 460 to 475 in production. And then it's going to stabilize at around 450, somewhere around there.
Super. Okay. And for the cost structure at Toroparu, what do you expect? Like the same like you have now at Segovia?
With the what?
For the AISC, meaning, you know, production cost for an ounce of gold then.
Production cost is somewhere, if I remember, somewhere around $700 an ounce.
Wow. So even more profitable.
Yeah, and it doesn't include the copper in the calculation. Remember, the copper, we start looking at year 5, but there is lots of copper and there is lots of, it's going to be an extra kicker that right now it's not calculated into the company.
Okay, super. To what extent do you expect copper in the production? I mean, you said year 5, but what do you think? Like 10, 20,000 tons per year?
It's about 15,000 tons a year of copper.
Wow. Beautiful. Any other byproducts?
No, those are the only two products that are going to come out of there. The copper is not, it's decent amount of copper. The reason that we're doing it is that we amortize the first 2 years of the debt, and we pay off the debt, and then that we accumulate enough so that we have a very good, strong start in producing copper from then on. Because by year 5, remember that then we're going to start looking at going underground, and then start increasing the capacity of the plant to produce more material. So we go from 7,000 tons to 10,000 tons, or possibly even more. So it's all a scaled up production profile. For the audience, this project's got over 6 million ounces of gold. Okay, so, and 11 million ounces in resources, and it's still open. Okay, so it's going to be this is a massive project. I was always surprised the majors didn't go after this project, but that's the nature of the beast.
You made it. That's important.
So I rather for us to have it than for somebody else to have it. And this is going to be a game changer for Gran Colombia, because Gran Colombia is going to become a mid-size producer, and we'll see. And the audience cannot forget that we are 47% shareholder of the Marmato project, Aris Gold, which is going to start in 2024, also production of 200,000 ounces a year.
Wow.
So
lots to come, I would say. That's fantastic. How does the deal look like with Wheaton? Do you have to pay, let's say, do you have a stream, royalty? How have you structured that?
We have a stream that came with the package when we did the acquisition. It was pre-done. It's a reasonable stream. The way to look at it, I don't remember exactly what the details are, but somewhere around until we repay back the 150, it's 10% of the gold production, and then it's a royalty of I can't remember, 2 or 3%, somewhere around there. But don't quote me on that. The most important thing is that it's irrelevant to us, because the copper, which they don't have a royalty on, very much offsets whatever royalty we're paying on the gold.
Super. Wow, that sounds like a real game plan, I would say. Fantastic. Serafino, thank you very much for the interview. I would say GCM Mining looks really outstanding, and the next 3 to 4, 5 years will be really big, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting in the next 2 years.
Yeah, already. Super. Perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Serafino Iacono from GCM Mining, or also as it is known in Colombia as Gran Colombia Gold. And you heard it, the company is on a full growth path, fully catched up, building the Toroparu project. Production at Segovia is going extremely well. Guidance for this year is already 210, 220,000 ounces, but more on the conservative side here. Their costs are under control. They make money, and don't forget, they are paying already a lovely quarterly dividend, which is a yield of approximately 3.5% today. And we expect this to rise over the next years, of course. And yeah, the company will become like a 500,000 ounce producer in the next years. So really fantastic. Check it out. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland.